Hey guys, in this video we're going to go over how to drive a luxury or exotic car for free. The first thing we're going to cover is driving an exotic car for free, because I know that's what everybody's interested in. But the biggest caveat to this is you should be able to afford the car payments before you get into this, right? What I'm about to show you will allow you to drive the car for free, but just in case, worst case scenario, you don't want to be stuck with, a $1,200, $1,300 a month payment. I will show you an example that's a little cheaper. It can technically be considered an exotic. It all depends. But definitely, you see people on Instagram flaunting them all the time. So let's get started. So the first two sites or apps that we're going to use, the first site is swapalease.com. And the app that we're going to be using, or the website we're going to be using for the second part of this, is Turo. On Swap A Lease, basically what you can do here is take over leases from other people. So people that don't want to finish out their leases for some reason, whether it's they can't afford it or they just don't want the car anymore, you can come here and take over their leases. So the first thing we're going to do, we'll start with something a little cheaper, but let's look at a BMW i8. So you go to swapalease.com, choose BMW i8. There's 25 examples on the website right now. And then you can come here and see. The main thing you want to pay attention to is how many miles are left per month, how long the term is, and you want to make sure, let's see if I can find an example. So something like this, where you see a number at the bottom there, these are people that are trying to lease like used cars, right? You don't want to do those. You want to lease them from people with normal pictures that show that they're individual, because those are the ones that are going to be the best deal. So as you can see, these are two good examples right here, one in Arizona, one in Brooklyn. They both have around 500 miles left, and they only cost $635 a month, or $693. So what you do after you find a car here is you go to Turo.com and you start doing some research. So look in your city, wherever you're located, and search for some sample dates. It doesn't have to be exact, but then you want to go to filters and search super exclusive cars for guests ages 30 plus. So on Turo, you can't rent like an exotic car unless you're 30 years old. So that's good because you get a lot more responsible people renting the car. But so you start looking for examples of the car that you want to get. So here we see a BMW i8 for $355 a day. This is for a weekend that I have it set to, so that's probably like on the higher end of what you're gonna get. But you want to take the average of as many as you can find. So here you have 355, 139. So let's say like 240. See if we have any examples. Another one, 225. So let's say 230 is our average right now. See if we find any others. 250. Okay, so like 250, 240, around there is a good price for a daily rental. So in this case, you would look at this lease right here and say, okay, 635. If you rented it for 250, let's say, just to make the math easier, 3 times a month, you will make money on the car, pay for it, probably cover insurance too, and now you're driving that car for free. With most of these higher end rentals on Turo, they only give you 100 miles a day. So you would rent it 3 times and then you'd still have 300 miles left to drive that month. And you can use it for all your Instagram pictures and stuff. If you want to drive the car more, then look for a car like this, which has 850 miles a month. You'll have to rent it, 3 times and you'll only pay $50 that month for the car. Or you can rent it 4 times, you'll make money, and you'll still have 450 miles to drive that month. So that's how you can drive an exotic car for free. On Swap A Lease, they have all kinds of cars. Let's see if they have McLarens. Let's look at some McLarens. We'll do any McLaren. Okay, so here you can see that these are a lot more money. But again, they will pull a premium on Turo. Again, don't forget these like this, you do not want to go with these. They're a lot more money and you're basically leasing a brand new car. So that's not what you want to do. You want to take over a lease from someone. So let's see if we find any McLarens on Turo. I doubt it. Oh, there we go. So a 570S. Go back to Turo. These are 570 GTs. There we go. 570S. So 2,600 a month. Let's say 2,700. And here you have one renting for 800 a day. So you would literally, again, just need to rent it 3 times. Be careful with the exotics because they typically, a lease on an exotic has a lot less miles available to drive. In this case, you would still be good. You'd still get, you rent it 3 times, you pay for the car. This one you may have to rent 4 times, then you only end up with 250 miles a month. But again, I mean, if you rent this 3 times, that's $2,400 if you're going by this price. I mean, I only looked at one, but that's $2,400. So you'll only have to pay the difference of $209 plus insurance, which, if you get the right insurance company, it's not going to be much. So think about it. You'll have a McLaren 570S for, let's say $350 a month, while other people are driving brand new Toyota Corollas for more than that a month. So that's how you have to look at this. But again, you should be able to afford this payment just in case you can't rent it 3 times, right? That's why, you're better off starting with lower end cars. I mean, another good option to the BMW i8 is the Aston Martin Vantage. I believe these are around $1,200, $1,300 range, which is not bad. Yeah, so $1,200. So this is another cool car to do it with. You don't really see many of these on the road, so kind of an attention getter. Let's see what else we have here. There's a Ferrari here. California, these are a cheaper car. They don't rent for too much from what I remember. Let's see if we find one. Ferrari. So there's another McLaren. You see that one's $649. Yeah, so see they're going for like $350 to $400 a day. You have to rent it too many times. Another thing to look out for, so I can tell right away, this is an older Ferrari. Typically, any good leases that you're taking over from someone on this site will be probably like 2 to 3 years old. This one being an older one, we can click into it. This is a company in New Jersey. Like, they're leasing older cars with crazy payments, which makes no sense. They're all over this website, so just be careful. Just look anytime you see that location, just be careful. All right, so that covers how to do the exotic car for free. If you have any questions on that, feel free to DM me and we can go through it. The next thing is luxury cars, right? So you can do the same thing with luxury cars. You can see here they have all makes and models, but that's just you taking over the lease and renting it, right? Same concept applies to all the cars. Typically, you want to go with cars that are desirable. So like, let's say a BMW M3, the Mercedes AMGs, the Audi S series, those kind of cars, Range Rovers, things like that. What I'm about to go over now is actually buying used cars that are 3 to 5 years old with decent mileage, and you have to get a good deal on them, right? So what I do to do that research is go to cargurus.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, and click price trends. And for this example, I'm going to do a Nissan GTR, right? So I uncheck everything here on this list. Then I click on Nissan. I click on Nissan GTR. And then you want to select only models that are a couple years old, right? So at least 3 years old. So we're going to look at anything older than that. The GTRs, pretty much, they all hold their value. But, you can just look to the right here, year on year return, right? Or year on year average price increase or decrease. So you want to look for the cars with the highest percentage, right? So here, a 2012 GTR is a good car to do it with because it's been increasing in value recently. A 2010 GTR also increasing in value. And I wouldn't do it with any cars less than like 5%. But you can see what your price range is, right? So the average price range is 81 for a 2012 and a 2010 is 61. Do your research on the car and make sure you know what kind of issues they typically have, things like that, because you will have to come out of pocket for any repairs unless you get a warranty, which I don't suggest because then that's going to cut into your profit, right? So basically you start looking at examples. You know the average price is 61, so you definitely want to be under that, and just do your research in terms of what cars are at a good price, have desirable colors, things like that. And again, you want cars that are increasing in value. So by doing this, what you do is make sure you get a good deal on it, negotiate, lowball people if you have to try to get a good deal. And the biggest thing is get a pre-purchase inspection. It'll cost you anywhere from like $100 to $300, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. I almost bought a C63 from Chicago. I was going to buy it sight unseen to get delivered to me. I sent it for a PPI, which is a pre-purchase inspection, and it needed about 20 grand of work. So, that $125 saved me a ton of money and a ton of headaches. So I suggest you do the same, especially when with this, to find the great deals and find the right cars, you're going to have to search nationwide, right? And you may have to pay to get them shipped and stuff like that. My M3 that I bought, I actually flew to Chicago and drove it back to New York. So, you may have to do that. I almost went to Tennessee to get a C63. But unfortunately that sold before I had a chance to buy it. But yeah, so that's basically the concept. This price trends can get pretty specific, but not with all car models. So let's see like a BMW M3. And sometimes it's even older than 5 to 6 years for what you're looking for that holds its value. So here we can see pretty much all the major M3s here, and you see that all these cars are losing value. Mine is actually a 2012 M3, so my car is decreasing in value by 5% a year. But again, if you buy the car well enough, you won't have to worry about it, because the whole point is that these luxury cars like the M series, the AMGs, the S series, cars like that, they're going to decrease in value a lot slower because they've already hit their depreciation like bottom line or close to it. So if you buy it at a good enough price, you can drive it around 6 to 12 months and then sell it and do it again. So that pretty much covers how to drive an exotic or luxury car for free. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to DM me.